Basta.
You told me to do 4. I don't do 4. Do 4.
I don't need to do 4. I just need to do 1.
Do 4. Hey, do it again.
Listen, I went down to camp before he fought. His focus and the level of, you know, intense training he was doing. And I said, I don't know it all. When he explained that to me, I was just like, yeah, you're right. You know, let me back up a little bit and just tell him what I see.
Yeah.
You know, more so than trying to coach him into being this fighter that I want them to be.
Yesterday, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 1, 2, up, 5, 6.
I'm watching you guys.
9,
Up.
Away from me, right? Help me out here.
Up.
I know.
Up. We're young.
26, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40.
Terence Crawford just walked out of Manny Pacquiao training camp absolutely stunned. And what he saw changes everything we thought we knew about this upcoming rematch with Crawford. Look, Crawford has trained with some absolute monsters in his career. He's been in there with elite welterweights, seen champions push their bodies to the limit, witnessed what peak conditioning actually looks like. But according to multiple sources inside the Pacquiao camp, what Crawford witnessed during these training sessions left him shaking his head in disbelief. We're talking about a 48-year-old fighter who's training like he's got something to prove to the entire boxing world.
Hard. He ran an hour. He did a whole.
Been with him for 22 years.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying he's a machine. He ran an hour. He did strength and conditioning with you, which is not easy.
He ran an hour. He didn't realize that this gets a bit harder. You know, as we increase the rounds to this, he's got to pull back on the runs a little bit. Now he knows.
He did strength and conditioning with you. He went all out. He worked hard, and now he's doing 1,600 sit-ups.
Yeah, well,
he's a machine.
Yeah.
What kind of machine is he?
Huh?
What kind of machine?
Crazy machine. He will, but as we increase this, we'll pull the running back shorter, faster. But you know, he knows. So now he knows what the training's about. We increase the training, we increase the stations, change it up all the time. So continually shocking his system, and we'll get the good results.
It was a great workout this morning. He worked hard, as he always does.
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. The footage that just leaked from Pacquiao's camp shows a completely different fighter than what we saw 9 years ago. Remember their first fight? Pacquiao was dealing with a shoulder injury, looked hesitant, couldn't pull the trigger on his combinations. That version of Manny is gone, dead and buried. What we're seeing now is pure aggression, relentless pressure, and the kind of intensity that made him a legend in the first place. His trainer is calling it a complete transformation, saying Pacquiao is moving like he's 30 years old again. And get this, he's not just going through the motions for a payday. Sources inside the gym say he's treating this like the biggest fight of his entire career.
It's the most difficult thing to adjust to or get used to with Pacquiao in the ring.
I mean, nobody fights like him. It's very difficult to prepare for. It took Marquez 4 fights to figure him out. You know, and Marquez is one of the fastest thinkers in the game, and it's just such a difficult guy to zone in on. I always felt like just as I was getting my crosshairs on him, he would change his rhythm. He's a very rhythmic fighter. He uses broken rhythm very, very well, and yeah, adjustments on the fly, which is what I think all the best fighters in the world do. All the top guys I fought made vast adjustments along the way. So yeah, Manny's he's special, as is Floyd.
His power, where did it rank among the fighters that you faced?
Not the hardest, but also very hard. You know, Keith Thurman famously said he's got bricks for hands. It's very true. So you get bricks for hands plus fast hands, plus punches you don't see, makes him a very dangerous puncher. But he wouldn't say he was the hardest. Ruslan hit, I believe, way harder. He was crunching power. But in terms of a guy with fast hands...
Wait, it gets even more insane. Crawford isn't just visiting the camp as some celebrity guest. He's actually grinding alongside Crawford in those brutal early morning sessions that start at 5 a.m. We're talking about road work in the Philippines heat, sparring sessions that go longer than scheduled, and gym work that's leaving seasoned professionals exhausted. Crawford, who's known for his own ridiculous work ethic, admitted he struggled to keep up with Pacquiao's pace. Think about that for a second. One of the most disciplined fighters in boxing today is getting schooled by a guy who's been doing this for over 3 decades. And here's the kicker: Mayweather is feeding off the energy of everyone around him, turning these training sessions into absolute wars.
Feeling like I'm young.
Do you feel you have something to prove in this fight, Manny? I know you've accomplished so much, but do you feel you personally, you want to show something to the world or prove something?
Oh yeah, it's a challenge that they might think that, oh man, his career is over and he's old like that. So something wrong that I need to prove it. And I'm not done yet. And
why do you feel that way? Because you've achieved so much. You've done everything. You're a Hall of Famer. Where is that coming from, the need to want to show people, like, no, I'm not done yet? Like, well, why can't you just be like, nah, I can do whatever I want. I've done everything.
You know, I can easily fight a easy opponent or non-boxers. I can easily pick a easy to win, but I pick the best because I want to add more in my legacy.
Now listen to this part. Pacquiao's longtime gym trainer just went on record saying something that should terrify Mayweather. He said Manny is working like a machine, surprising everyone with his non-stop energy and relentless discipline. But here's what's really crazy. The trainer says this is the most focused he's ever seen Pacquiao. More focused than before the Miguel Cotto fight. More focused than before the Oscar de la Hoya fight. More focused than any of his biggest career moments. And when you consider that this man has been in some of the most significant fights in boxing history, that statement carries serious weight. The trainer is describing sessions where Pacquiao refuses to stop, pushing through exhaustion that would break younger fighters.
In talking with your team, they've told me that they've seen you more hungry, more driven, more focused. Why not fight a YouTuber? Why not take an easy fight, you know? Like at 42, you're taking on arguably either the best or a 1A or 1B welterweight in the world. Why not go fight a Logan Paul, a Jake Paul, and make a lot of money and not have a hard fight?
I mean, the question is, what's that for in your legacy, in my legacy? No, I want to fight the best.
Hold up. Did you catch what Chris Algieri just said about Pacquiao? The former world champion who actually fought both these legends called Manny a truly unique fighter, saying no one in boxing history fights like him. But Algieri went even further, calling Pacquiao the best opponent he ever faced and ranking him among boxing's all-time greats because of his skill, rhythm, and legendary career. Coming from someone who's been in the ring with elite competition, that's not just respect, that's fear. Algieri knows what those angles look like up close, how dangerous Pacquiao becomes when he finds his rhythm. And according to multiple sources, that rhythm is coming back in a big way during these training sessions.
Mayweather and Pacquiao are fighting again. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's two legends / two old men who are fighting each other. You know, they haven't been very active. It's a big money grab. I'm gonna say it like this: I don't hate it, right? Because the division is actually moving. It's not like they're fighting for a title and keeping guys out of the way. They're fighting each other. They both make a lot of money, and it's going to bring so much nostalgia for both of their careers in the build-up. For those 2 months where we're leading up to Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao 2, all we're going to do is watch, and talk about their fights. And I love that. I love that idea because I think they're two stalwarts in our sport. And in terms of them fighting each other, I don't know. I don't think they're ever going to put on a barn-burning performance, especially when they're damn near 50. But I don't know. I'm not.
Here's the thing that nobody in boxing media is talking about. Pacquiao just made a statement that changes the entire narrative around this rematch. He said being back in training camp has renewed his energy, that his passion for boxing is still burning strong, and he believes his journey in the sport is far from over. But it's what he said next that should have Mayweather worried. Pacquiao emphasized he's not interested in taking easy fights just for money anymore. He's focused on challenging himself and continuing to build his legacy. Translation: this isn't a cash grab. This is a man who feels like he has unfinished business with Floyd Mayweather, and he's willing to put everything on the line to settle it once and for all.
A fight for both guys, you know. And look, it's hard to pick a winner for me on that fight because, you know, Pacquiao is a slick.
But here's where the real controversy starts. Critics are already dismissing this rematch, calling it two old men fighting despite all the hype surrounding the event. They're pointing to the age factor, questioning whether either fighter can deliver the kind of performance that made their rivalry legendary. However, veteran trainer Ronnie Shields just dropped a bombshell that's making everyone reconsider. Shields believes fans shouldn't be surprised if Pacquiao actually defeats Floyd in this rematch. He's pointing to Mayweather's explosive speed and relentless style as key factors that could give Floyd serious problems. And Shields isn't some random trainer. He's worked with elite fighters for decades and knows what championship-level preparation looks like.
He's a pressure fighter. And, I mean, man, that's going to be explosive. That's all, you know. And I guess whoever had to...
And get this, Shields is making an argument that could completely flip this fight on its head. While acknowledging Floyd's defensive brilliance and ring IQ, Shields believes the outcome will come down to strategy and execution on fight night. He suggests that if Pacquiao applies the right game plan and maintains consistent pressure, he has all the tools necessary to make this fight highly competitive and potentially pull off a massive upset. But here's what's really interesting about Shields' analysis. He's not just talking about Pacquiao's physical abilities. He's talking about mindset, determination, and the hunger to win. According to Shields, those factors will play a much bigger role than age when these two legends step into the ring.
Say younger is always better. You know, I mean, you know, experience is probably the best thing. But, you know, the determination, I think, is going to be a big factor in this fight. And, I mean, you know, look, it's hard to pick a winner. I mean, it really is. It's going to be a great fight and a tough fight.
Now here's where it gets really wild. Chris Algieri believes this rematch will be an even bigger event than their first encounter, which was already one of the most historic fights in boxing history. Think about that for a moment. Their first fight generated over 4.6 million pay-per-view buys and broke revenue records that stood for years. Algieri is predicting this second fight will generate even more massive global attention, especially with both legends returning for what could be their final chapter. However, Algieri still leans toward Mayweather winning again, pointing to his defensive skills and ability to capitalize on mistakes, something he's done consistently throughout his undefeated career. But even Algieri admits that Mayweather's style creates a difficult puzzle that Pacquiao has had nearly a decade to figure out.
Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather in a real fight in September. Mayweather's putting his 50-0 on the line on Netflix. How big is that and who wins?
I think it's a big fight. It might actually be a better fight than the first one. I famously went on record and said that Manny Pacquiao's style was no good for Floyd. Well, I mean, Manny Pacquiao would not be able to beat Floyd because the styles just didn't match up. And it was right after I fought him where I said that, because I could just see where there were spots where Floyd, his fundamental skills, his boxing style, his ability to control space and pace would have given Manny a lot of trouble. And sure enough, when they fought, they did. But how much is left of both of these guys? We saw Manny in the Barrios fight. Very impressive that he went 12. But again, he had a guy in Barrios who didn't step on it. You know, he let Manny dictate and fight for portions of the round. And Floyd's been pretty active. He's been fighting exhibitions over the last couple of years. Not 10 rounders, not with really dangerous opponents, but I feel like they're probably in a pretty similar area right now in terms of their momentum. But yeah, I don't know, man. It might be actually a little more entertaining than the first.
Follow the money and everything makes sense. Reports suggest this rematch could generate absolutely massive financial returns, potentially becoming one of boxing's biggest events of 2026. We're talking about speculation around extremely high payouts for both fighters, with the commercial appeal being driven by the unique venue at the Las Vegas Sphere and global streaming on Netflix. But here's what's really interesting. Despite the huge money involved, both fighters are reportedly staying focused on performance rather than just collecting a paycheck. That suggests this fight means more to both men than just financial gain. They understand that elite competition will drive public excitement and solidify their legacies in boxing history.
In terms of why this fight is happening, honestly, I don't know. I don't know why this fight is happening. Like, Netflix is involved. Netflix has said that they, want to put on big, huge events. If you were to grade the type of events they've put on in terms of how serious they are, and when I say serious, I mean like real fights, okay? Like real fights with implications in boxing. You have to give them like a C, honestly. Like, look at the fights they've put on, okay? And if there's any criticism, albeit constructive criticism, towards Netflix, is I feel that they should step up the type of fights they're putting on their platform, because there could be a lot of blowback. There was a huge amount of blowback the first Mayweather Pacquiao fight, okay? You had all this attention. Literally the whole sports world and a big part of the world was tuned in to this fight.
Wait, there's serious uncertainty heading into this fight that nobody wants to talk about. Paulie Malignaggi just pointed out something that could change everything. It's been many years since we've seen Mayweather in a truly competitive professional bout. His last official fight was back in 2017 against Conor McGregor. That's nearly a decade of ring rust and inactivity against elite competition.
What he's got left at 49, we haven't seen him fight in a while. So, we know the Mayweather we used to see. We'll see what Mayweather exists at 49 years old. Honestly, I don't know, We're comparing the Mayweather we used to see against the Pacquiao we just saw. We really don't have anything to go by for Mayweather, because he hasn't been active recently. 49, we'll see what he has left. He was an excellent fighter, but we'll see what he has left at 49.
Paulie, appreciate your time, man. You're doing great work over at Pro Boxing.
Well, the one fight between like guys who retired and came back that I'm still interested in seeing is him and Manny, and I know they're gonna do that on Netflix.
Floyd.
I think that's still a high-level fight, though. That's what I love about it, because I think Manny is still a high-level fighter, and Floyd, even in these exhibitions that he's been doing,
He be looking good, huh?
He looks great, man. He looks great in sparring. You see him at sparring, like, good Lord, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's lost a step.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't see Manny being able to beat Floyd Mayweather. Like, I don't see it. I think Manny looked solid his last fight with Barrios, but I just don't see Floyd losing. Like, I think it's some guys that he could come back today in the sport of boxing and fight.
Yeah, I think so.
Like guys
even
like
though he's
Barrios,
46. Yeah, this place. Because so if he was here and he's lost this much, they're still here.
Yeah.
And even though he's not Floyd that fought Canelo or Floyd that fought Ricky Hatton, it's not the same Floyd. It's not that much different.
Yeah, he's still so far ahead.
Because he's not drinking, he's not f***ing his body up, he's not doing anything stupid, he stays in shape, he eats right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I appreciate Floyd too, because that's one of the guys that I never did no business with ever, and he still kind of helped me. So I appreciate him, man. I think he's a real dude,
And he got my love and respect.
Well, I always say that if you wanted to have a style that you emulate.
And Netflix, of course, is very much into eventizing these, whatever they put on, whether it's boxing or tennis. And so far, they've done Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. They just did they just did Canelo against Crawford. And obviously, a rematch between Mayweather and Pacquiao, even at this stage, would classify as a big event for Netflix. And I think is a real possibility this is going to happen. Mayweather is now 46, I believe. And Pacquiao's around the same age. But look, this was the biggest fight in boxing history when it happened. And I think all these years later, a rematch, if it happens, especially after the way Pacquiao looked